Trade deal with India, and Saskatchewan's the big beneficiary. That's not a sentence I'd put together. Brad Wall, Premier of Saskatchewan, here with me. And this is a huge story for you, both as a province, but also economically for the whole country, isn't it?
It's a big, big announcement today. It's historic in terms of a breakthrough. It's a country that has a very robust civilian nuclear program into which we've sold precisely no uranium. We needed a nuclear cooperation agreement. Credit Prime Minister Harper for making that a priority, even though there's really only uranium in our province. So 15% of the world's production comes from Canada, but it's all in Saskatchewan. So typically it's been, I would say, probably ignored by other prime ministers. This prime minister has taken it upon himself to make a nuclear cooperation agreement with both India and China a priority, and so we have the deal today. India is big for Saskatchewan. Out of all of Canada's exports to India, our province, 3% of the population, accounts for 35%.
Lentils being the other?
Pulse crops, right? Lentils. You spent a long time in Saskatchewan there a couple of months ago, and it's showing. Pulse crops for sure, but also potash. So food, fuel, and fertilizer with uranium added today, and 7 million pounds is what's been sold by Cameco, are the largest uranium company headquartered in Saskatoon, and I think there's going to be more down the road. It's good news.
So in terms of jobs, and I was talking with the CEO of or the president of Cameco about this, he's saying this is good news. It's going to keep people employed. It's not a huge deal by his standards, but a big deal.
It is, because it's a big deal for what it represents now in terms of sales, which will start immediately, and over 5 years, 7 million pounds. And then I think there's a chance for it to grow, combined with 50 million pounds contracted to China through 2025, I think is the date. You get job stability in a sector that's been, it's been a difficult time for uranium mining and the nuclear cycle in general. Starting to see some improvements there. These deals are big, certainly for our province. $70-80 million in royalties to the Treasury, and between 300 and 3,500 people employed. 45% of their workforce, Cameco's, are First Nations and Métis people. I think I asked him what's the starting wage at Cameco for a miner. $60,000 to $70,000. These are careers for people, and First Nations and Métis people being involved. Cameco, a uranium company, the largest industrial employer of Aboriginal people in our country. And so they're a great corporate citizen. I think there will be job expansion down the road. Tim probably can't say that. I think there will be, as we see some strength return.
He said 400 million people in India without access to electricity. Exactly. And so if they start building, then they need more uranium, which means more contracts for him or other uranium producers.
Well, you heard Prime Minister Modi say today they'd like to go do more uranium, and the reason for that is that they have air quality issues. And anyone who's we've been in trade missions, they're a lot working on this file and others, and you can see it and feel it when you're in Delhi, for example, and they want to deal with that. For those also that are concerned there in India about greenhouse gas emissions, coal versus uranium is sort of nuclear is a no-brainer. On the books, they have 570 coal plants planned in India. It's a lot of coal plants. So I think Prime Minister Modi's trying to see what could be done with nuclear instead of all that coal.
All right. Now, as far as jobs, let's get back to that, because I love talking about jobs, because that means food on the table. You said $60,000 to $70,000 a year starting.
Yeah.
Everyone is talking as if the economy out west is tanking because oil's gone down. You guys have oil. You got a bit of oil sands. You've got a bit of the back end field. You've got old-fashioned standard wells as well. But you're a diversified economy. Right. And you know that I've been saying for years, if you want a job, go west, young man. How are job prospects in Saskatchewan still with the downturn that your neighbor's been experiencing?
50% collapse in the oil price, a loss of $700 million in revenue to our Treasury. Job numbers out last Friday, we created 6,000 new jobs year over year.
In a province of a million people?
Of 1.1 million people. And so that one's one of the big, I think we were second in terms of employment growth in the country. So we're very fortunate to have a diversified economy, and recently we've seen announcements for an expansion by Evraz in steel manufacturing, and the forestry sector received a shot in the arm, a $25 million investment and a number of jobs in Carrot River, Saskatchewan. They're using something, by the way, we introduced in our budget. It was a challenging budget because of the oil drop. We balanced the budget and we introduced targeted tax cuts for those that are in the export business. So Evraz, the steel manufacturer, took advantage of that. They made their announcement, a number of new jobs and a $200 million investment, and then this forestry deal, and you're going to see others. We're grateful to have a diversified economy, and oil's also going to come back, and so we're we're feeling pretty good about the mid and the long term.
All right, now let me ask you again about the trade deal. Quite often these things are overlooked because they are dealing often with products that most people don't think about. They don't think about pulse crops. They don't think about uranium. Are these trade deals, Prime Minister Harper mentioned Jordan, he mentioned the ones in Latin America. Everyone just still seems to look to the United States. Or they dream of a trade deal with China, which, hey, fair enough. But do all these other trade deals add up for your province?
Boy, they sure do. They're huge. And the federal government probably has not gotten the credit they deserve for the aggressiveness they've had in executing free trade agreements. Of course, Korea was the latest, and you heard them talk about moving towards that with India. When you do a deal with an emerging economy, what are the things that those economies prize? Well, for the most part, energy security and food security. These are the things, priorities for emerging economies. And the Prime Minister's been working on trade deals with them. That's good for Canada because we're good at food and we're good at energy. We're good at a lot of other stuff, which can come later. But talk about a foot in the door when you can address the major concerns for Asia right now is long-term food security and energy security. It's not just a sort of a rhetorical line to say we've got what they need. We do. We need these agreements.
All right, Premier Wall, thanks so much, and congratulations to your province today.
Good to see you.